Okay, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to share with you some methods that will increase your battery by between 20 and yes, up to 50%. This is not clickbait. I know everyone's used to be different, but I've helped a few friends out and they're averaged about 40% increase on battery, especially screen on time. I'm going to show you through some of the main things I've done. I think you're going to be amazed. If you don't know any of these, please give a like, share, and now let's get on with the show now. This is the Snapdragon version I want to emphasize, but this should also work on the Exynos version as well if you're living overseas in certain other countries. Software version 13, Android version number 5, Ui.5. And let me just show you some of these figures here. Getting here 10 hour 35 minutes on screen and time. This was 8 hour 3 minutes and still with 20-30% left. So let me show you how I'm doing this. Firstly, let me tell you and show you what I've got on. I think that's even more important. I have my display brightness set on automatic. I find it very effective, so you don't have to mess around with it day or night. You go out, it automatically adjusts where you are, and it's fraction over halfway using dark mode. I find it very effective, very good, perfect actually. I also have, believe it or not, Bluetooth turned on all the time. Now it seems to be only activated once I turn on a Bluetooth device like my headsets. So it's not taking up any battery of any consequence. So I leave that on all the time. My Wi-Fi is left on all the time. So when I'm in a place where I've got connection to the Wi-Fi, it automatically connects. When I'm home, it automatically connects. When it's outside, I'm using 5G. Now my location is turned on all the time. Now when I say it's turned on all the time, if I tap on location, these are the apps that have recently asked for my location. So you can go to app permissions and then you can see which apps are asking for your permission and then you can turn them off. Here, I only allow, and you've got full control over this now with this new operating system, which apps I use and only when they're in use. And it's very effective. So you may want it if you use Uber or Bo or any of those kind of things. Very, very good. And again, not taking up hardly any battery. Again, on my phone. So let's just go back to what else I'm using here to show you. Auto rotate, that doesn't take anything. Mobile data, now I'm going to turn that on. I am using 5G. I have a very good signal where I am. If you do not have a good 5G signal, I recommend you turn it off and go to one of the lower bands. It could improve your battery. I don't know how much, but I'm finding if you've got a good signal, 5G, it works very, very well. I'm outside most of the day, no issues whatsoever. So in my case, do that. Now let me show you some of the other things I've got turned on. So I'm just showing you really that I'm not having to sacrifice too much to get these battery improvements. A dark mode, as I already mentioned, I'm actually recording. It's got a built-in screen recorder. That's what I'm using to do this. Dolby Atmos is on, and that's pretty much it. 5G, as you can see, with the data, and 5G Wi-Fi. And I've got Wi-Fi 6 working currently. Next, let's now tell you what to turn off. Facebook is one of the worst that you can have. I basically uninstalled Facebook. If you can't uninstall it, disable it. Now, does that mean I don't use Facebook? No, I use Facebook all the time, as you can see. But I'm not using Facebook. You don't lose much. I'm using here, let me just tap on it, Brave. It's a free browser. It basically stops all the ads, pretty much, all the permissions, and you've got a dark mode. So by using this, I'm actually dramatically improving my battery. Now you can use a browser like this for many of the things that you go to. So instead of having apps, let's say, for instance, Agoda or Hotel.com, you could use Brave or another browser similar for that. My browser of choice for those kind of things is Hermit. Now, for those who don't know, Hermit is a paid app, but then you can have, let me just show you, these are all instead of having apps, these are all little web pages, if you like, separate web pages, which are isolated and stop all advertising trackers and stuff like that. Very, very good. But if you don't want to pay for that, just use one of the other browsers without the ads and tracking built in like that. A good example is Samsung Internet, which is good. DuckDuckGo is good. And Brave, as I mentioned earlier. Next thing that I'm going to also mention, and just show you, by the way, if I go back to my settings, I'll move that out the way. And if I go to my display, brightness, as you can see, is just over half, adaptive brightness. I've got the motion smoothness full on, just to show you that. Completely adaptive, fantastic, very smooth. You can't go back to another phone after that. Screen resolution, to most people surprising, I'm using the full maximum screen resolution. Now, I have reduced it. You do get more battery if you want to change that to full HD. But frankly, you've got a mega expensive phone. Why do that? Keep it on full. The differences are not that much, but when they look at the examples, you can see a much bigger difference. But I didn't have to change that to get those battery things. Next thing that I do, I'm just going through these. You go to accounts and backup, sync accounts, make sure, manage accounts. If you go to, let's have a look, the Gmail account, do this for all your accounts. Only sync the apps that you use, like I use Google Docs, I use the contacts, calendar, notes. Actually, I turn on Google Sheets now, Google Drive and Gmail. If you don't use any of those, don't sync them. No need, it's taking up battery. But again, I'm using 5 out, all of them actually, not having any negative effect. I'm syncing all this stuff up, my Hotmail, etc., etc. Next, let's just go down this. Let me just see what else. Battery and device care. This is, okay, I'm doing this. I've used it today. Let's have a look. Not too much. 1 hour, 21 minutes, but I've got 76% left. So you can see it will give me, based on that, 8 or 9 hours. And I'm just scroll down here for your own interest. Brave, as you can see, is a replacement, in my case, of Facebook. When it comes to Facebook Messenger, use Facebook Messenger Lite, much better. If you use apps like Lazada, use the browser that I mentioned earlier, go into the dark zone, and it also has Google Translate in it, which makes it even better and uses less battery. That's a separate video in itself. Notice I've got none of the power saving on, background limits used. It tells me here which apps are sleeping, deep sleeping. Now, the problem with deep sleeping apps, they don't get automatically updated necessarily, and these are never sleeping apps. So what you may want to do here, these are the ones that are not sleeping at all, and these are the banks, accounts, for notifications, etc., etc. Deep sleeping apps are the ones, as you can see, these are ones that are, I don't really need them day to day, frankly. And when they're not running, they're not taking up any battery. Make sure you're doing this. The other thing to do that's also important is, while we're on this page, is, let me have a look, more battery savings. I just have it on fast charging. I have the percentage shown at the top. Process speed is optimized. I don't even use that part here, extend battery life. I don't need to extend it in terms of if it's going to last 5 or 7 years, the battery, I would get it replaced if I had that phone that long. Protect battery, I'm not doing any of that. That means it only charges to 85%. Again, that would extend the life of your battery. We're not looking to do that in this particular one. Next, I'll go back to here. Storage, memory, every so often under memory, you go here and I've got a thing that says clean now, takes a few seconds, and it just cleans those things out, making sure the caches, all that stuff, things that I don't use. Just makes it run a bit better, but doesn't really do much to the battery. What does a lot to the battery is, let's have a look. That's a separate interesting app there. I just point it out, maintenance mode. If your phone ever goes wrong and you have to take it to a store, you tap that and they don't have access to any of your information inside. Very, very nice thing to be added. I have always on display on all by schedule. So in other words, when I wake up and when I go to sleep, it's on, it goes off the rest of the time. Again, not taking up that much battery. You could save about 2% by getting rid of that. Battery and device care, just want to go back to that. Device protection, you may want to tap on that. And let me have a look. Tip, scan phone. You have an option under those three dots, device protection setting. I do not scan it every day. Doesn't need it. It just scans when I'm installing apps. So there's no reason, unless you're using third-party apps not from the Play Store, I would not have that turned on. No need for it to do it. Okay, that's that one. I'm going through these. Hopefully you're following this. I'm going fast to make it as good as I can. And here, going back to this page under device care, this is a nice feature. Auto optimization, that's a new thing. It restarts automatically only when your phone is charged in and it knows you're not using the phone. It turns off the phone and turns it on again, so you don't have to ever do that again yourself. Nice little feature. Just helps it run better, doesn't do much for battery. Is there anything else that really I'm using? No, I'm using everything else. I'm using the sidebars here that you can see. I'll just show you the animations. Very nice. I'm also using the edge bar here for applications, here for my notifications. Do it again. All the apps that you use, all your favorites, you can have split screen apps. As you can see, no sacrifice, nothing lost in terms of what I'm doing. Other things to do, if I go to Wi-Fi again, go to the three dots at the top, and I go to advanced settings. I sync the Samsung Internet, all my settings and my favorites with Samsung Cloud. So that's already being synced. But the next one I want to show you, which does help the battery, is under intelligent Wi-Fi. I recommend you follow what I've done here. Okay, switch to mobile data if the internet is slow or unstable, because that means it's working harder to connect to the internet. It automatically switches to the better internet. So if at home you've got 5G, Wi-Fi or 6G and it has a lower band at 2.4, it would automatically find the better one. Show network quality. This is an important one. Detect suspicious networks. But this is the only power saving mode I've got turned on the whole phone. Wi-Fi power saving mode. Reduce battery usage by analyzing Wi-Fi traffic patterns. Actually, I found that did make quite a difference. I can't tell you a percentage. I think that really covers the main things. I'm just going to go through my notes here. If you've seen something different that you didn't know before, let me know. I'd appreciate your comments. Oh, I have let me just show you a couple of things I forgot to show you. Under display, let me just go under here. Timeout, font size, screen resolution, camera cutout, screen timeout, 1 minute. What that means, if you're not using the phone for, and you can choose 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it will then go out. I find 1 minute adequate. That means the phone's not being used. If it is being used, it does not time out. I also have the face recognition on and fingerprint recognition on. I also have tilt to unlock the phone as well. So once again, you can see I've got very, very little turned off. A big tip is go back to your permissions under settings, go to permissions and check which apps are using your Bluetooth, which apps are using your locations, and delete the ones, not the apps, but delete the permissions if you don't think you need them. I've got the haptic feedback turned on. In other words, I get vibrations for everything. And that's pretty much it. What can I tell you? I hope this really helps. Please subscribe to the channel if you found this useful for more tips and tricks on your Samsung and other Android devices. Thanks for tuning in.